that this amount of elevation can be very, very useful to them, but in the back of their minds, they still have to be wary about how they're going to get down, especially if they don't have the misform. As Peterbot called Ritual, they finish the job, they take out Reap. At least he was able to get some of those eliminations and at least a team or two worth of placement points.
Yeah, that is true. Just looking at the way this zone's kind of ending here, this is high-key a crazy place for the game to end, kind of right in between the Foxy Floodgate and then going up and over all the directions, the most vertical towards the islands up top. Just unforgiving at the moment.
Wow. 419 below the damage threshold. If he could just kind of out-survive this, maybe hope that full trio gets sprayed down, he can get some of the damage. But he basically needs 2 full eliminations worth of damage in order to get above that threshold. So it's going to be a mountain decline for him, but literally and figuratively, as you see the zone pulling in that direction. Aoxy and team hasn't really been contested that high up. 1,400 damage above the threshold for Peterbot Cold and Ritual. Just continuing to take names and check them off their list. 7 eliminations so far. And if that stat earlier on the game means anything, they're on track for at least 18.
Yeah, this is going pretty big right now. And you know what? It's kind of interesting that it's 5 choice they're running the Outlaw right now. So this is a very hyper kind of, you know, make a mistake and it's over for you type loadout. The heavy hitters right there. Ozone, Vera, and Noxy playing very clean endgame right now. Nice pickup on Yusuf right there. No mistake being made. Up into a Neko Fishy. Zavy, they're going to lose one right now. Trying to play the front side. Early to rotate here on the low ground. Peterbot's team coming through though, moving fast. Talk about the ability to kind of key through. Medmiss kind of forced out here as the zone's pushing in. We've got another one down. The box goes, grabs the wall too.
Wow, it's kind of the bait and switch. Look at the double down. In mere seconds, Peterbot is essentially full health. Cold takes much of the damage going first. He just switched spots with Peterbot, kind of like a train ride as they're running through teams here on the low ground. A much different side of things that we've seen before on their way to big games. They dominate the mid-levels. They dominate the high ground. They're just proving there's other aspects to their game, but Disaster Strikes, Ritual, and Cold both go down. Peterbot's now being put to the test. One elimination, 2. He's getting multiple knocks here. And another one on the Veer as the elimination cleans up. 146, and remember, he still has the medallion, and he goes in for more. He is going for seconds, Monster. He is hungry.
Did you say 18? Did you call it an 18? Okay, yeah, he's on his way. He's at 16 right now, Jacob. Just cooking on the low ground. I mean, he makes it look effortless alongside Ritual and Cold. And sure, he's a solo now, but a top 5 surely seems to be in question as he's working his way up the high ground. Jojo, Pipes, and Aoxy, gotta look out. You got this man with some dangerous action here on the low ground here. Here comes a little floor take right there, putting out the cones. He's got that misform to go ahead and scout for a second there, gets to the front as well. These are not in his builds right now. Tyler trying to break his way through. And it is just going down right now. I mean, I still think it's anyone's game here.
Yeah, I think so as well, especially since a lot of the players on the low ground still haven't clashed up until HQ going down. Peterbot still finding a tunnel to tarp, even if it's recycled builds. Osin and Cam doing the same thing, but they're almost fresh out. You see only 3 more materials to use on one side, which makes this that much more important. They need the loot, the siphon, the mats, everything here, and they're going to get most of it and continue moving forward as they take down Tyler as well. But the flank comes in. One's going to go down. That's Cam cleaning up Tyler for the siphon. Didn't come in time, but Peterbot's still alive. He finally goes down, but into the top 3 we go.
Nicely done for Joe Pikes. Aoxy get broken down. They're just looking to reinforce, and you can feel the pressure from them right now to try to qualify their way to finals. They're doing everything in their power not to clash prematurely here on the low ground. Sid and Cam need to kind of fight back here. Sid goes up. Jojo boxes up. He wants to go for a heal off. This passive play might be a huge mistake here. Give it a second. Sid gets a knock. That's going to be a siphon waiting to get picked up. But no, gets crashed on by a huge tag there. Jojo, meanwhile, heals his way to the win. And that was the strategy all along.
And while all that action went down between those 2 teams, Monster Curve just sneaked his way into a top 2, but big ups for them. They just pulled off a big win, Monster, and qualified themselves for the Major 3 Grand Finals. You know what that means? They get the rest of the day off.
Yeah, you see, you can really feel it when, you know, team has their own agenda. You got teams like Peterbot playing that low ground, hyper fast, right? Looking for fights, just kind of racking up eliminations. They could have gone for high ground a lot sooner, but with the way that Island was coming into play, Pikes and Strio was like, nope, we're going to just go ahead and ride this one through to the end. And I was talking about that difficult terrain for good reason as well. That was a huge factor that they didn't even have to worry about. So clearly they had so much material. Let's look at it here from their perspective. Jojo, Pikes, Aoxy, this late in the game, still sitting at about 60 or so builds. Pikes obviously had already dropped everything. Look at Curve up top from that side angle. He thought he had it for a moment there, but he ticked his way out. Congratulations to Aoxy, Pikes, and Jojo Fishy. Winning match 1 here for group number 3, Jacob. They're going and kick this one off. What a way to start the day there, Zeke.
Bro. This is the top of show. Win conditions, okay? Now this trio, they did not have the medallion from Rift Island, right? We saw it on Pete. We saw him kind of jumping around, disappearing. But what I love is that they utilized Rift Island in that mid game. You saw them for a moment. We cut to the wide. They're just up there shooting down. They save so many materials. When we cut to them, when it's like the 1v3 situation or the 3 trios remaining, they have like 60 builds up pop, bro. They had so much ready to go. And the fact that they even had a player kind of already back in zone playing the heal off. Kelly, they're treating that like a finals lobby.
Yeah, they played that so smart, and like you said, it started all the way back from Rift Island there. I'm not too certain if they were able to actually claim the island themselves, but we can see this rotation over there. Actually using bird form a lot, something that I've seen Pollo do a lot, where they won't actually use the wrist to get up to Rift Island. Instead, they bird form up there. But you can just see what opportunity they had, and for it to go back over Rift Island, obviously that's a little bit of RNG. They had Aoxy, Jojo, and Pikes were actually up on Rift Island quite earlier than that. So to be able to reclaim it once again, I just love to see it. And then they just handled this so well with zone pulling over the mountain. They knew that from Rift Island, they only needed to expend a minor amount of materials, and then they just carry that all the way to the end.
Yeah, that's definitely the point I want to hit on as well, right? We just saw it yesterday where we were kind of critiquing King's trio, right? They had the higher gun right there. They had so many eliminations going into the end game, but then throughout some of those moving zones, they didn't find the eliminations. They couldn't get those refreshes. But when something like this happens, when the Rift Island is available for you to go up there and claim, and that's your stake to higher ground, you don't got to build a tarp. You don't got to build a foundation so that way you can't get chopped out. You're just up there floating, free from the rest of the lobby. You don't have to necessarily find any of those eliminations, which is why we see that 6 elimination game kind of come in where they didn't necessarily need any refreshes. They just had to play the game out and continue to play from the higher ground. Well played from that trio.
Absolutely textbook. No notes now, of course. Before we can jump into game number 2, we have to go into a break. When we return, though, we break down game number 1 and Peterbot. We'll see you right after this. Welcome back to the FNCS, everybody. Game number 1, Aoxy, Jojo Fishy Pikes get themselves a victory royale off the straight to the grand finals, but another story developing in this game. Peterbot, for a moment there, left alone as an individual. You know, Kelly, it doesn't matter because they're still going to get 16 eliminations as a trio in a 4th place.
Yeah, the exotic on Peterbot, as well as the mythic rifle, and then he had heals as well. Not too many builds, but who needs builds when you're able to eliminate everyone on the low ground? And even as a solo, we've talked about this so many times, and we've seen it so many times from Peterbot. It's something like the Game 11 boon, not curse, where every single time Peterbot is put into a solo situation, it looks like he is a trio all on his own, Vivid.
Yeah, I mean, it's just incredible stuff. I think one of the most incredible things too about this trio is that when we kind of tune in the early game, they were obviously in a 3v3 battle with the Edgy trio, and that one kind of took a very long time, right? It was like, wow, I kind of expected that to be closed out pretty quick, because whenever this trio does get a straight on, usually do end up closing this out pretty quick. But because that took so long, they were actually in 7th zone this game with just those 3 eliminations that they found in the early game. And like Zeke mentioned, right, 16 eliminations, which means that all of those eliminations pretty much came from the end game. It is just incredible that this trio can just consistently find so many eliminations when there are so many teams around you. They're able to just find those isolated fights and not only like win them, but make sure that they don't get affected by any of the other trios that are kind of so close in the end game. And then obviously, I mean, it's just a Peterbot effect, right? Like, if you got Peterbot in your team, he's just gonna do it in the end game. No matter what it is, he's gonna do it.
I like that you say that, because that's like literally how I think about it, is that there is such a chaotic nature of an end game in Fortnite, right? And I feel like Peterbot, it's like he can see, it's like he is like in the eye of like a tornado, right? He perfectly can see everything happening, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna take 1 step to my right, look at that. A whole trio. Oh, let me take a step to my left. Oh, what's that? You're a lone person? Did you say impact? Like, his game sense is next level. Also want to talk about 3rd place there. Osid, Cam, and Sinetto. Now, of course, we only saw Osid and Cam together, right? Sinetto had fallen kind of in that end game, but still, these guys put up a 3rd place with 9 eliminations, right? If we're targeting consistency, that is a very good start.
Yeah, and a lot of that came from the low and mid-ground game that they played towards the end there, just playing the levels so well, not necessarily sticking to the extreme low throughout the entire game. And also, I love the play that we saw at the very final moments there, where they burned it up, they wanted to go for the eliminations, but of course, if you have one player that's able to pull back and go for the heal off, eliminations are only going to do so much, but getting a 2nd place with all those elims is definitely going to be holding them up in the top of our leaderboard.
It's so funny because I wanted to talk about how, mechanical Osid was looking right there, right? Like, he was looking clean, everything was looking really, really good for him. And when we tuned into him right there at the end, he had 0 eliminations. I was like, wait, am I watching the wrong guy? He's like, no, I swear, like, he was looking very, very clean right there. Cam obviously just picking up most of those eliminations, Osid, and he went 2 right there. But yeah, very good first game from this trio.
I love it. Let's get some more Fortnite action. Casters, take it away.
Thank you so much. And no, Vivid, you were not wrong. Osid, 2nd or 3rd most in overall damage behind Peterbot and Colt, almost 1,300 in that game. He was getting those eliminations stolen away.
Yeah, but he put up the numbers, right? That damage was nothing to be overlooked at. Definitely showing that they're a team to be, put on the radar for popping off and possibly winning a game. But you got to stay away from that low ground if Peterbot and team are going to be looking to kind of make some big numbers, find some highlights, rack up some content, if you will, to kind of close out the weekend for themselves, because that's just not going to work for most teams.
Yeah, and with Aoxy, Jojo Fishy, and Pikes qualifying to the grand finals, the format says a spot has opened up. It's over towards the big man monster on top of that mountain. Usually teams like to 50-50 into that little tunnel. That's usually where it is if it's contested, but this time around, uncontested, free loot. So if your drop spot wasn't necessarily working in game 1, now would be the time to switch it up, because game 2 is ready, and let's get right into it.
Game 2 now gets the kick off here. That last end game, though, talk about a disaster zone for most, especially with the island right on top the Foxy Floodgate. Normally, we celebrate a dead center end game, but right there, man, that was a tough one for most. So let's see how this is going to go ahead and dice up as we are now in game number 2 of 5. One thing to think about, though, Jacob, for just a little refresher for everyone at home, the name of the game is win. If you win, you go straight to finals, and then after that, it's top 5 consistency. We'll also have a seat on that battle bus.
Yeah, and usually kind of looking at the leaderboards for the past 2 group stages, it usually takes three good games out of 5 to really start to perform. You just got to make sure you have no 0-point games, because that really puts the pressure on to close out the day. Back on over towards Utopia, and it does look like one team just kind of getting the lion's share of this loot, but overall they're kind of split up. This would be a good chance for Caliper and his entire trio to try to push towards the north. Aaron is literally a solo on that side of the map.
Yeah, Aaron's definitely out of position. Something's going wrong there, but as we talk about that, same thing can be said for Cosmo here. One already down, Bluish and Vex, so Oasis starting and ending before you can even put a touch on it. That was a quick sending back to the lobby, if you will, here.
Much needed, too, because we know how disastrous these kind of drawn-out fights are. There's no contested teams to their west, another one uncontested a little bit towards their southwest. That could have changed, but they're Bluish. Oh, my. All you need is just a little bit of loot, just double pistols, and he's just able to beam one, get the other one to about 20 HP, and now he has the high ground and full advantage, and this is how he was able to clean them up for all 3 of those eliminations. What the pickaxe.
Kame there, just waiting like, dude, drop me something, like, I got nothing. And then he just gets finished with the pickaxe.
Anything but that. Kind of seeing around the map, kind of uncontested spots, almost, I think, a good portion of the map on the northeastern side, uncontested from first order base to supernova to pump power. So there's a lot of freedom in the early game, but depending on how split you are in that drop, those are the little intricacies you really got to watch out for.
Early game kind of cycle here with teams that perform very well. 72 points for Tyler's trio. Not bad at all for a game 1 start for them to go ahead and really just put their foot in the door here. Utopia this time, though. No sneaking around for Fred's trio. They're trying to get straight to it. This is the difference, right, between a game 1 to game 2. Teams kind of warm up. Respect is thrown out the window, and there it is. Good to kind of apply dominance here. This is going to work much better for Fred's trio.
Yeah, it's kind of what you're saying, like warm up, just gain that confidence, especially kind of when you look at the leaderboard after game 1, the team contesting you might not have performed well. That's kind of like boosting from game to game, especially now if you win the fight here. If you somehow don't win the game and go to the grand finals, there's even more confidence in that Utopia fight on one side. Bluish, Arsenic Plasma fight, just kind of continuously rotating over towards the east. You kind of see the spire in that mini-map, so you kind of see the over-ending goal of what they're after here.
After that team wipe now, looks like they're kind of inching their way towards danger here. Be careful right now.
Yeah, XP, loot. I'm surprised that team's essentially kind of letting them get it for free without even trying to contest it, but I don't necessarily see all 3 members there together. They are kind of spread out. Now, you can kind of see in the mini-map, they're looking over in that direction. But at this point in time, you got to start to wonder, is it even worth it? How late are we to rotate on over? You're seeing a lot of loot already being grabbed up. They already got the XP for their superhero rank. So it's like decision. Are those mist forms or those surf cubes worth fighting this early in the game?
Yeah, I was going to say, look at how critical the loot that they just claimed was. 2 mist forms, plenty of extra heals. Showing you the power of the spires and the mini ones there, so it's their loss for not fighting for it, but yeah, having one member a little too far out, what happens?
Kind of looking around, you're seeing just a lot of these early bases, kind of where the zone's pulling towards the south. A good portion of them, you see already 2 different surge bases there, kind of plan B. A lot of the times you don't want to necessarily use these launch pads, but if you get pushed, you're stuck in a weird situation, you may not have the mobility that you're looking for, that might be a good way to try to escape. Get out for free. and kind of reposition overall. And then up until then, you don't have to use it. You can kind of just sit up on this perch, loot up, get the surge. They see they have one player towards the bottom, just trying to accumulate the materials that they might be missing up into the spot. Because you see how many monster that they've used just to get up into this mountain.
Yeah, I was kind of debating myself if it's worth staying here this long with 2 players up here. Luckily, they kind of split and then send one back down. We gotta get their resources together. Getting into that mid game here. Jumping into Jace's team. Oh, they're getting targeted. That ramp out, trying to see if they can break them down. Close.
Okay, now we're
cigar there. Edgy. Duke Chance find themselves a little elimination here. They kind of finish this team up right now. Skaters on the run. Whoa, big opportunity there for Edgy to go in and make a mistake, but definitely dashes to go in and save himself either way. Great knock here to kind of kick this one off, and that's going to be 2 already secured.
Yeah, and you kind of see the lone player in the mini-map. He's wondering, just kind of eyeing it down, like, is it worth going over there now? Do I wait? Almost in the center of the zone at Lone Wolf Lair, so it might be a very, very risky situation to put yourself in. And then you got to add on the fact that you don't see another player in the mini-map anywhere. So it could quite possibly be a solo with the entire game on the line. 28 teams still up. Far too early to go down for anybody for that matter.
There's a little lurk play right here by Wilson. Meadow Cam. They get face checked by another trio right now. Don't really get to set up the ambush they were probably looking to right there.
That's actually a lot of storm damage. 1,500 storm damage from game number 1. And we kind of saw why. You know, the early game fights going on over towards their west. They're contested here for the most part at the resistance base. So it's not easy to move out of the spots for free. And then you add in the fact that they want to get Storm Surge, so they're taking advantage of the surrounding teams that may not have a safe drop spot to land at. So overall, working out well for game number 1. Bahati KSM delayed. They're just getting pushed. Their high ground stolen away. They even lost KSM along the whole path. He's just dropped down to the low ground, and they're just trying to lurk around, keep their position hidden out. And that's going to be their only way to try to take this fight back.
Yeah, Hadi's kind of found himself upstairs. Delays down in the low ground, just kind of waiting this one out. I think it's just a matter of time, though. Going to get spotted out from this other trio. Oh, yep, there it is. Delayed, forced to fight back. Great little shield crack here. Kind of reinitiates the other trio, so they wasted no time to jump back into it. Clearly, they want a piece of this action here. Could've, should've, would've. No opportunities presented, though. Now, just keep in mind, they kind of initiated this off with a couple dashes, so you can see Minka is already kind of out. Not near his team to go and get the replenish, so has to be careful.
Like he was faking the drop down for a moment. Things turned sideways. All that aggression coming out from Apple and Snake, they just kind of get the tables turned on them. Not only a shield, but HP just get torn off just like that. You kind of see it's forcing them to reposition all around in that entire mess. And that's where it could get a little dangerous depending on where everybody's at, who owns what pieces. But it does look like Lulu, Minka, and their trio just kind of converging in the same box. They don't want to take too many risks. And this puts Hattie in a weird spot because he has to sit and listen to all of this play out. And hopefully there's enough time left to get the reboot cards when the dust settles.
They know he's here. They know for sure. They kind of had tabs on that first elimination. They saw the second go through, so not trusting it, but the QTE trio still here. Hattie just has to wait this one out. Still plenty of time to go out and play those cards as well. A little update. What's going on with Peterbot? He's taking a little 1v3. You know, nothing. No biggie. Kind of doing his thing.
Yeah, exactly that. Just normal Peterbot action. Nothing too exciting. Just putting himself into a 1v3, fighting the team. He knows Cold and Rich will know how to close the gap. They do have the miss form. Peterbot using the dashes and the medallion as his primary mode of rotation, getting tagged up just a little bit. And you can see him dropping and picking up the medallion, instantly starting that shield regeneration while using the chug just to kind of get there faster. And you see it just in mere seconds. It's like he wasn't even hurt at all.
I was was going to say. That could catch a team off guard, too, right? Like a real fake out. A key thinking they have a big advantage. It's going to be back to 100 before you even realize it. Cirque, Cynics, Polars, the team on the run right now. Oh, wow. Too far out. Peterbot kind of initiates this one here. The effects of the shotgun kind of taking form here. There it is. Frosty effect, but ooh, wait a second now. Peterbot forced to do the reset like we just talked about here. And look at that HP fly up. Pole jumps in, kind of closes it out. Medmis comes down. This is a full reset for the team now.
Ridiculous, dude. The dashes plus that medallion from the island. Peterbot is just zooming around the map, starting some of these fights. Luckily, though, I will say, Cold and Virtual were there to alleviate the pressure. That was a very, very dangerous position for Peterbot to be put in, especially since he not only has the medallions, he has both of them and both of the mythics. They're basically putting all their eggs in the Peterbot basket. Rightfully so. How many times, Monster, has it worked out in their favor? But it's that risk-reward scenario that we're talking about as they inch themselves closer and closer to box fights. A lot of noise being made down below, and that's just a huge signal for Peterbot to try to take advantage of, knowing that Trio's down there, and he's just trying to peek and choose, trying to find the right angle to start this aggression.
Now, I just love how Cold is like the closer. You know, he kind of comes in, definitely is going to hold his own, especially with Peterbot by his hip. And Ritual right behind him, just full support here. This is excellent work right now. That miss will be the dead giveaway here. Cuts him off from both sides.
Just not giving up on this chase. And with the amount of pressure he's putting down, you saw he forced Jace out of the med miss. He's not letting him get minis. Forced to drop the dash. Even though he has dashes, he cannot pick up that blob again. Every bit of resource he has